So reason number one is that the software is the same version on all of them, and that not only that, but a smart person is going to buy a used iPhone because they get longevity even if they buy an older version of the phone. So yes, the iPhone 11 is the latest and greatest from Apple, but if you bought an iPhone 8 today, you're still on the latest software and you're going to be on it for quite some time. Same with the iPhone XR. If this is just a little bit too high, the iPhone 11, get an iPhone XR, you're on the latest software once again. So the longevity factor that we know is key to iOS is an extremely good reason why it's a smart idea. And I think smart people buy a used iPhone. The software holds up. Reason two smart people buy iPhones used is because Apple likes to wait to change anyway. So what do I mean by that? Well, I mean that if you buy an iPhone XR, for example, used on the used market, I mean, look at the similarities to the iPhone 11. It takes them a while to change out to a newer design, and I will bet that the iPhone 12 that replaces the 11 is going to be somewhat similar to these phones as well. So they keep that same design philosophy for quite some time. Now, the iPhone 8 is a little bit different, but that was after like 4 times using the same design. We had iPhone 6, iPhone 6S, iPhone 7, and iPhone 8 all looking basically the same. So I would expect this trend to continue with the iPhone XR, iPhone 11, iPhone 12. We'll see, but I think that's what's going to happen. So, if you buy a used iPhone, essentially what I'm saying here is that your design is probably not going to look too outdated. So reason number 3 smart people buy used iPhones is because the value drops even slower. So the person who's going to take the biggest hit on the iPhone is the person who buys it new. Now, I'm not saying it's a bad idea to buy it new. You get a fresh battery cycle and stuff like that. But at the same time, you're going to take the biggest hit on loss on your investment. I mean, these are not great investments to begin with, but for example, you buy an iPhone 11 at $700. Yes, it's going to hold on better than an Android phone. You're going to get $500 back, but somebody who buys a used iPhone XR at say $500, they're probably only going to drop $100 in their value, or maybe $150, because it slows down as the years go on. Then it starts to slowly lose its value. Whereas with the new iPhone, you lose a lot of value like in the first year. So buying a used iPhone is a smart idea just because the value doesn't drop as quick as one that's new. Okay, so the next one is you can get the exact iPhone you want used. Now, the iPhone 8, when Apple does decide to get rid of it, is going to be a phone that I think is still going to be a good value. Same goes for the iPhone 8 Plus, but it's not going to be available no more officially from Apple. But what's an advantage of buying a used iPhone, and why I think smart people buy used iPhones, is they can find their own, specific iPhone that they're looking for in their specific color. Sometimes they get rid of a phone in their lineup that you wanted that exact color for. So that could be a good reason to buy a used iPhone. Reason number 5 is a great way to try something new for less money. So if you're the type of person who's like, you know what, I want to try iOS. Well, smart people are going to buy a used iPhone to try it out first, because you buy a used one, it's a less risky investment in terms of purchasing a new iPhone at a higher cost, and you get to try out iOS. I think an iPhone 8 is a great way to try out iOS, or go with something like a XR if you could find that around the same price point as like an 8 or an 8 Plus. XR can be a great way to try iOS as well. If you haven't tried it before, you just want to get your feet wet inside of the iOS ecosystem. So smart people buy used iPhones because it's a great way to try iOS for a cheaper price. So oftentimes at number 6, the iPhone will be ahead of competitors, even though it's last year's model. So yeah, you can buy a used iPhone 11 right now for cheaper, and you're going to get a better camera performance and a better video performance than a lot of its competitors in 2020. So the iPhone 11 is a great used purchase, and smart people are going to consider this because they're thinking like, okay, I can get a used iPhone 11 for cheaper than some of these newer competitors out here, and I'm going to get an amazing camera and video performance that's on par with Apple's best iPhone 11 Pro Max. So that's reason number 6 right there, why people would buy the iPhone 11 or something like that, last year's model at a cheaper cost used.
Later.